Yeah, hello, welcome back to the channel. Something's wrong with my PC, and it's definitely memory related. Stick around, let's dig into this. Yeah, so I've just got one stick of RAM right now. Uh, I had been testing earlier with that Ada64, and it almost seemed like uh, the A channel the A channel was what the issue was. I don't know if you can see the silk screening down there. Yeah, so the far left is A channel 1, and then A channel 2, and then B1, and then B2. So when you run dual channel RAM, you put it in B2 and A2, which is what I had, and I kept getting memory errors. And actually, what started all this is I put a new NVMe in, and I decided to put Windows 11, but I was literally hours and many attempts later and could not get Windows installed. It kept crashing, giving me weird errors and blue screening during the install. So I thought, oh, I got to figure this out. And then I had it with just one stick in the B channel. And by the way, I was swapping out sticks of RAM. This kit is fairly new, and I honestly I can't see the kit itself being the problem. I mean, but I did have some other RAM that I tested with. But anyway, long story short, when I was just in one of the B channels, Ada64 was testing fine on just the system memory, but now the freaking B channel is testing as a memory error again. I also ran the Windows 11 sort of memory checker. What's it called? It's MS, uh, whatever the hell, SCHD. Anyway, so I'll just fire that up real quick, and I'll just click restart now. You'll see it doesn't take long to come into it. Ignore those. I don't normally have this broken monitor, but I needed my good one somewhere else. So no problem. There, boom, instantly. Hardware problems were detected, right? So, so what is it? Is it my board? Is it the CPU? Is it the RAM? Uh, I don't know. So here's the deal. I got to tear this entire thing apart. This is the problem with hard plumbed water loops. Is it's not just a simple matter of let's pull out the graphics card and whatever. I got to tear this whole thing apart. I'm going to take the entire motherboard, everything out of this case, and get the motherboard on a bench, and I'll just use a different video card. And yeah, I got to start digging into what is it. I do have another CPU I can put in here because potentially it could be CPU related, right? Because as far as I understand, the memory controller is on the CPU in a, well, X570 system. But okay, stick around. I'll bring you back as soon as I have all this torn apart and on the bench. I'm not going to bother filming tearing this apart because, I mean, it's boring. And even I don't want to do it. So see you in a minute. Nothing to see here. It's not a bloodbath. Little PSA: when you build a hard tubed loop, um, put a freaking drain valve in it. Don't be lazy like me. Oh my god. Okay, I'll see you when this is all on the bench. So that red coolant's a little dramatic, isn't it? Okay, I have the board out. I have the CPU out. I've got the RAM that was originally in it. I have some RAM that I know is good. Although, I mean, this was testing fine, but anyway, I know this is good. I also have another Ryzen CPU that I can use to test on this board. Whoops, that I can test on this board with. That CPU is totally fine. So yeah, let me just get a box and power supply and stuff and kind of get set up. And there's the old CPU. This is going to look rather funny. This is a 3800X. It's been lapped. Um, it's been lapped for a reason. It's because we also lapped the water block just to flatten them both out. So yeah, okay. I will be right back once I'm all set up. Guys, you are not going to freaking believe this. I was getting set up on the bench with a, power supply and something to put the motherboard on and whatever, and I grabbed the 3800X CPU. Look at this. Oops, let me get my fingers. Look at this freaking bent pin. And look at this freaking bent pin. Let me see if I can get this in a little better focus here. That pin is basically bent over and touching another pin. And it was in the socket like that. There's no way I did this pulling it out of the socket. Somehow when I put the CPU in the socket, I managed to bend not one, but two pins completely over. Like even that one there is touching the other pin. And somehow this computer was working in whatever state it was in. And it has to be this. This has to be the reason why I'm having these memory errors. So I'm going to straighten this pin, both these pins, as best as I can. I'm going to resocket this thing, and I'm going to bring up a memory diagnostic and try this again. Unfreaking believable. Stay tuned. Okay, somehow I have to turn that freaking question mark into an exclamation point. Wish me luck. What I'm gonna do, I have this, so if I can get this, I have this pen that has a metal nib at the end. And I've pulled out well, it used to be a marker, so I've pulled out the fiber stuff that was in there. So I'm going to use that as kind of a straightener and see if I can't straighten that pin out. So I'll bring you back with an update. Well, whoops. Shit has gone sideways. Have a look right there. Look at that beautiful missing pin that is sitting right here. Oh my freaking God. Okay, so now what? I don't know. I'll be back, I guess. Okay, so while I'm figuring out what the hell I'm going to do with that CPU I just broke, I do have another 3800X. It's not mine. Belongs to Kevin from this same channel, hence the K&M projects, Kevin and Michael. I might just borrow it. But so I have a 1600X in here. All right, so the 1600X for some reason didn't work in here. Not sure why. As far as I'm concerned, it should be fine. But so I have Kevin's 3800X in here. It has posted. It is complaining about a new CPU, so I'm going to just press Y to reset whatever the hell the FTPM/PSP NV is. Who knows? Okay, and then yeah, let's see if it will let us go into BIOS. I'll just start. Well, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll just start smashing this and see if we can get ourselves into BIOS here. Is that, oh, it's still doing something. Just waiting for the keyboard lights to come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. We are in BIOS. Okay. Let me just get you on the stand here and I'll point you at the screen. One sec. Okay. So let's go into BIOS and have a look. So I want to do advanced mode. And let's do the extreme memory profile. Okay, good. And then let's go to boot. So we still have our Windows Boot Manager there. That's good. I don't like full screen logo. It drives me nuts. CSM is fine. And so we have, I guess, just XMP and yeah, that was it. So let me save and exit, and let's see if it boots into Windows. Save and exit setup. I guess I'll just have to hit enter. Yes. Right. So XMP enabled, full screen logo disabled. Yes. Let's see if this sucker boots into the installed Windows. All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to, I have a bunch of stuff not plugged in, obviously. I'm going to run IDA, IDA 64 right away. And let's just see what happens here. So let's grab this. And it would crash. Well, I shouldn't say crash. It would give an error right away just doing the system RAM. So let's click start on this and see what happens. Yeah, so it's already crashed. So hold on a second here. We have a different CPU. So that means it's not the CPU. We do have the same RAM. So in theory, it could be the RAM. So let me turn this computer off, put 2 sticks of different DDR4 in there, and let's try it again. I'll be right back. Okay, there's my old Corsair RAM. I've got some Ripjaws 5 DDR4 in there. It's still set up in a dual channel format. So let's go ahead and run IDA 64 again, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we'll just do the exact same thing. We'll just do a memory stress test, and let's click start and see what happens. Okay, it failed. So what the frick? It's different CPU, it's different RAM, so then I guess that pretty much leaves the board, doesn't it? The board is the problem, which just blows because an X570 board is still a lot of money. Damn. And you know what? It just goes without saying, this channel isn't even monetized, hasn't even made a cent, and I'm not rich. Farts. Okay, so then do we want to continue with, like, is it both memory channels, or is it just one of them? Or is it a specific slot that has the problem? Let me do some testing. I'm not going to bother recording it because it's not very captivating content. Let me see if I can figure out, is there a specific channel or a specific slot on this board that's not working right? And I'll come back if I find anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've already disabled XMP in the BIOS, and it's just booting back to Windows. I know this RAM is fine because I've tested it in another system. I'm just going to use one stick, and I'm going to just move it slot for slot and see if this IDA 64 test will pass on a particular slot or not. And I'll just come back. I don't know if my methodology makes sense or even would work, but let's just give it a shot, see what happens. Okay, quick update. We're coming up to the 2-minute mark, and I haven't had a failure yet. You saw how fast it failed the first time, right? It's literally within like the first 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever it was that it fails. So at this point, I'm going to say channel A1 is fine. And I know that 2 minutes is not, any in-depth stress test, but given the fact that it happened within seconds, I'm going to call channel A1 correct. I'm going to shut down and test channel A2 now. Okay, I'm back. The RAM stick is now in channel A2, and I'm ready to click start. Let's see what happens. Okay, we've just passed the 10-second mark. I'm going to let this go for a couple of minutes again, and then yeah, I'll bring you back at the 2-minute mark. I'm going to call channel A2 fine. All right, we just hit the 2-minute mark on channel A2. Uh, I'm going to call that good enough. So I'm going to shut down and we'll do channel B1. I'll be right back. Okay, we're now in channel B1. Let's get this started and see what happens. Here we go. All right, we're coming up to 10 seconds. Okay, again, I'm going to go to 2 minutes and I'll bring you back at the 2-minute mark. All right, we're just coming up to the 2-minute mark on channel B1. And so far, no crash. So, okay, let me shut down and we'll do channel B2. Back in a minute. Okay, we're in channel B2. That's the last slot to check. So here we go. All right, we just passed 10 seconds. This is, yeah, I don't understand this. Again, I'll go to 2 minutes and I'll come back. That's so odd. I don't know what to say about this because it was clearly crashing, or not crashing, but failing. All right, I'll bring you back at the 2-minute mark. Okay, we just hit 2 minutes. I don't understand this. I just tested all 4 channels or all 4 slots, and it's fine. I don't get it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Off camera, I'm going to take the matched stick to this RAM set, and I'm going to run it through all 4 slots again. And if it fails, then that would mean it's the RAM stick itself, right? So I will bring you back if I see something that's relevant to what I'm just saying here. Okay, so I ran the second RAM stick through all 4 slots, ran the AIDA64, and I didn't get any. I didn't get any failures. I'm just at a loss for words. I now have both sticks back in the dual channel configuration. I do not have XMP enabled. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the RAM stress test on dual channel, no XMP. Okay, so we just passed the 10-second mark. It would have already crashed before. I'm freaking baffled right now. I don't understand what's actually happening here. I'm going to let this go for, again, a couple of minutes, and then I will go into the BIOS and enable XMP and then come back out and try this, or come back into Windows and try this again. Okay, we're back at the desktop. XMP is enabled. Let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. And okay, so what's the issue? If anybody out there watching this has a clue, even if it's just a stab in the dark, give me a comment. What the hell is going on here? How can I test every slot with 2 different sticks of RAM and everything's fine, and I test it without XMP and everything's fine, and then when I turn XMP on, it doesn't work. I get the error. I'm baffled. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with this. So yeah, hopefully somebody watching has an idea. So I'm I'm just grasping at straws here. I mean, IDA 64 should be fine with XMP. Like it should be able to do a stability test with XMP enabled. I mean, I wouldn't see why it wouldn't, right? So yeah, I guess right now I'm stumped. So maybe I'll just run my computer without XMP for now. I mean, I probably would see a little dip in frames per second. That's fine. I'm not overly worried about that, I guess. So now, does that mean that there's still something wrong with either the RAM or the motherboard? The CPU that's in there is a different CPU. Um, I can't see it having a problem. The 3800X that I took out clearly had two crushed pins. I don't even understand how the damn system was even working with two crushed pins that weren't connected, but I'm not a electronics engineer, so I can't even speak to that. But the CPU that's in there was pulled from a working system. It has no bent pins. Everything's fine. So that leaves either the RAMs, but this is the thing though. Like, what the frick? I have a RAM set here that were bought as a pair, a RAM set here that was bought as a pair, a RAM set here that was bought as a pair. They all do the same thing with XMP enabled. So it can't be the RAM, right? It just can't be. It has to be something with the board. But unfortunately, I don't have. I mean, I do have another board I can test in. Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go take that CPU and that RAM. It's a different board. I think it's a B550 chipset, but that's fine. It'll still have XM. I think. I think it still has XMP. Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna test this stuff in that other system and just see what happens. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna boot from the same drive and I'll run IDA and see what happens. Okay, so here's what I got going on here. This is my kid's system. I've got the boot drive from my computer. I've got the RAM from my computer. I've got it running in dual channel, and I have XMP enabled. And it is currently 1 minute and 5 seconds in to the memory stress test, and it would have failed by now in the old system. So I'm fairly confident that there's nothing wrong with the RAM. I'm fairly confident. Well, not shouldn't say fairly. There can't be anything wrong with the CPU because it's a different CPU. So that's fine. So that means that there's something wrong with my board. It just has to be, right? So unfortunately, my really expensive gigabyte board, I need to find I need to find something else, and that just blows. I guess for now, until I can afford it, I'll just run it with no XMP profile because apparently that was testing just fine, including in the Windows built-in memory test for Windows. So as a matter of fact, let me try something here. So we've passed the 2 minute mark. I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to do a. I'm going to run this Windows 11 memory diagnostic. So let's restart, and let's just get into the memory diagnostic on this system here, and we'll know right away because the memory diagnostic would fail within seconds of starting when I had XMP. Okay, so here we go. So no problems have been detected. Let's wait for it to hit 1% complete. 1% or point. Well, I guess that's 1%. Overall, it's not though. My system would have failed already. So I think it's conclusive. There's something wrong with my motherboard, and that blows because it's an expensive part. Okay, so what am I going to do? Because I just tore apart, as you can see, there's my cooling uh, there's part of the cooling loop. Obviously, the 3070, I put the stock cooler back on it. So I guess that's that, right? And then in my, hold on a second here, wherever the hell my motherboard is, I have the Wraith cooler on my motherboard. So I think what I'm going to do, because I really want a new case, so I'm going to have to figure out a new case and a new motherboard, I guess, as far as like how the hell do you pay for it? um, we're all in the same situation. Nobody's rich around here, right? So yeah, so I guess the point of what I'm trying to make here is that I'm not going to rebuild the water cooling loop. I'm going to run the Wraith cooler. I'm going to run the 3070 air cooled. I'm going to slap it back in my case, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And yeah, once I can afford to go with a new case and a new motherboard, yeah, that's the way she's going to run for now. Okay, I'm going to put my system back together. I will come back after it's done and back on the desk, and I'll say goodbye. Okay, uh, the system's back together. Might be hard to see in there. I've just got the air coolers and stuff. However, I am absolutely freaking baffled right now. Uh, Here we are, 6 minutes, 15 seconds into a RAM stability test. You can clearly see that I'm running dual channel in XMP2, and it hasn't freaking failed the stability test. So, what the frick is going on? Am I in some sort of twilight zone here? Like, we clearly saw it failing, right? Like, I'm gonna, you know, obviously when I'm editing this video, I'm gonna go back and make sure I wasn't hallucinating, but we clearly saw the freaking thing failing in Ada 64. I really don't know what to say here anymore. I guess I'm just going to leave it like this for a while and just see what happens. Uh, did taking my system apart and putting it back together do something? I mean, it already was apart on the bench and it was failing. So, how could putting it back in the case, or is it an intermittent problem? I don't know. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts and comments are in the comments down below. And yeah, I guess we'll see you all in the next one.